Welcome to the Reckoning podcast, where we stoke a campfire, gather around, and have real-life conversations with old friends, new friends, professionals, and just shoot the shit. Reckoning all things from hunting, outdoors, beauty, entrepreneurship, relationships, life, and more. It's all just a reckoning. I have to tell you, I absolutely love your reels. Cody and I will lay in bed at night and be scrolling through, and each one of us will come across your reel and we'll just bust up laughing. Did you see Trev's reel? I'm like, oh yeah, I already saw it today. I know that you're in Canada and it seems like you hunt a lot of moose and black bear, but I'm curious if we can go back before then.
Sure.
Have you always been into hunting?
I have, and then there was a time where I got out of it. So my dad was a big hunter for he did predator control for Fish and Wildlife here.
Okay.
And he got really sick and he was trapping and stuff and he ended up with MS and he ended up with it was a process. He was on two canes, then he was in a wheelchair, then he was in an electric chair, and it just went downhill. But he did a lot of trapping and stuff, so I would go with him right from when I was about 5, and I would do some of the trap lines with him. Later on, when he couldn't do it anymore, he would have me come out and do it, and he would run me through everything and explain everything to me, and he'd be kind of sitting in the truck and I'd be setting all the traps and stuff, and kind of got into it that way. And eventually he got really sick and I kind of got away from it.
Okay.
And then, it's a few years after he died, I got back into it. And I got into the big game stuff from there.
Okay. And how old were you when you started big game?
When I started big game, I was around 21.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a little later in life
A
with
little
the
later
big
in
game.
life. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. I didn't know all that. Through all of this, are you working dogs?
Through all of that?
Were you guys hunting over dogs at that time?
No. No,
You
we
weren't doing
weren't.
anything like that.
We weren't doing anything like that. No,
So
it was.
it was just running the lines and then going big game hunting. Where did the hunting dogs come into play?
Well, the hunting dogs came in. So I used to be a welder for a long time in
Mm-hmm.
the oil field, and I had some rigs going, and I was obsessed with hunting. And I'm trying to figure out a way to get into hunting get into hunting as a job of some kind, right?
Yeah.
So it was the dogs seemed to be the way to go. I've always bred dogs. Like I started out breeding pit bulls and stuff like that, and American bullies. And then it was like, well, the gun dogs, I always had fun with them, with friends and stuff that had them. And I decided just to get into it and try and make it into something with purpose, because I really needed to do something with purpose at that time. So I just started researching and getting into the dogs, and I was looking for a special dog that I couldn't find. Was a huge reason I got into breeding too. It was, if you can't find it, you got to make it, I guess, and that's what I did. So it's taken a lot of generations of dogs and going through it until I got what I wanted.
Yeah. When you say you were needing something with purpose, was that because you were kind of feeling like a little lost in life, or like you weren't just happy with where you were with work?
Yeah, it was, I mean, I had a great career as a welder,
Mm-hmm.
but it just, yeah, I needed purpose. There was no, it wasn't satisfying anymore. It was great money, but
Right.
that wasn't enough, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I got into the hunting dogs, but even the hunting dogs ended up not having enough purpose for me. So I changed that up too. Like now I breed, train, and hunt dogs for people that need the dogs. So my dogs will go to veterans and first responders, that these guys and these women need a dog to lean on physically or emotionally, but they still want to hunt. And the dogs will get them out hunting. The dogs will get them into it. And that's where the purpose came in.
Okay.
That's all what it had for me.
That's incredible. And it sounds like too, you started where you needed a purpose and at least got you into the hunting dogs to the where you actually did then find your purpose with helping the veterans.
Yep.
It's very
Yep.
cool. You said you were looking for a specific kind of dog and you weren't able to find what you were after. What was it that you were looking for?
what I was looking for is, see, labs should be labs. They should be able to do it all.
Mm.
And I was finding dogs that were, they're great hunting dogs, but they were so game driven. They'd just be vibrating and they wouldn't settle in the house, or I couldn't take them out to certain places because they'd just be a handful. And I needed the major off switch,
Mhm.
which a lot of hunting dogs have, but I just needed more of that, and
Mhm.
I needed the drive as well. So it's, like LT, my dog LT is going to be 4 in July. And between live birds, dead birds, training dummies, every retrieve she's ever done from the beginning, she's pushing 40,000 retrieves. And she can do work all day long and hunt birds all day long. She'll grab geese 5 feet out of the air, and then she'll go to the children's hospital and hang out with kids.
Oh,
That's a huge thing for me.
yeah.
And it was hard to find that. And that's why I started producing this.
Hmm. I'm curious how that works. You decided you needed that. So then what did that process look like for you as a breeder?
That was a process. That was a lot of, you get dogs that you talk to different breeders, and they'll be like, oh yeah, we have this. And you say, okay, so you pick up a dog. It would be an older dog at that time because you're trying to get into the breeding without raising a puppy first. So you
Mm,
take the other breeder's word for what they've got, and then you get it home and it's nothing what they said it was. So now you have to say goodbye to that dog and
yeah.
bring in some more, and then eventually you find one that's kind of what you want and another one that's kind of what you want, breed it, and it may not turn out again. So you have to scrap that whole thing and start all over again. And like, it's a major process, but it's necessary to, there's no shortcuts in it, that's for sure.
Yeah, it sounds like you can't shortcut that at all.
No, no shortcuts. And you got to be really honest with what you're after.
How long did that process end up taking before you feel like you had gotten somewhere? Because now you have
That
LT. So is LT like the dog?
LT is exactly what I wanted. And she would be, I mean, we've got some good, great generations of dogs, but
Mm,
she is the dog. She's the one that sets the pace for what I'm doing now. And she's the face of Compass Grid Labradors.
okay.
But the process was around 9 years.
Oh man. You're a
Yeah, it
patient
was.
man.
Well, there's setbacks,
Yeah.
a lot of heartache, a lot of heartbreak, a lot of setbacks, but it had to be done properly to, if I didn't do it that way, I wouldn't be what I'm doing now. Like, I wouldn't even be who I am as far as that. So,
No, it sounds like you are someone that makes up their mind and like stands true to who they are instead of just veering off on the easy path too.
well, and that's, see, there's a quote that I've lived by Jim Rohn, and it's, don't join the easy crowd, you won't grow. Go where the expectations and demands to perform are high. And I've always had that in my head for everything that I do now. So
It's definitely showing through for sure. And you can even, obviously, you can tell that in the dogs that you're breeding. And then now you can see that as you're starting to show up on social media and promote your business and you as a brand as well. I think that definitely sets you apart. Like I said, at the end of the day, makes those good reels that captures our attention.
yeah, yeah, a little different. Yeah.
Yeah, a little different. I'm curious what sets Compass Grid Labradors apart from other breeders. What do you think that is?
We do a lot of different, I don't know. I try and keep my head down from other breeders these days.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what they got going on is none of my business. I do things
Right.
my way. The health testing I do is a little more than a lot. I do, for health testing, I do hips, elbows, eyes, heart echoaudiograms, the full Labrador DNA panel, including color and copper toxosis.
Okay.
And what people are finding now is a lot of labs have copper toxosis issue in their organs, and like a lot.
And what
So,
does that? I'm not familiar with that. What it's in their organs.
yeah, well, that would be like in their, it's a kidney disease, I guess.
Oh, okay.
So, and it's kind of a new thing that they're testing for.
Hmm.
But as people test for it, they're finding a lot of dogs have it,
Wow.
and a lot of breeders are maybe not happy because I test for it, but
Yeah. Best
that's
of the
part of it.
best.
That's right. Yes. So, but I think that's probably what separates me
Hmm. I think
on
that's
that.
super important too because this last year we just got us a lab. We're in Utah, and we ended up getting us a lab. My little boy, now he's 14, right? He's always wanted a hunting dog since he was little. And that's my husband grew up and he was always kind of getting hunting dogs, but it was always like the $500 dog off of a listing here and there. And then, like you said, they're not performing like they should. His labs were always having health issues,
Mm.
one after another. And as they're growing up, they're not growing up to be what they said they were, kind of a thing. And I had no idea on this testing how important it was until I started talking to my husband about it. And he was like, I will not buy him a dog unless there is the testing on this. If we're going to invest and get him a dog that he's going to be able to hunt over for, hopefully until he's into his 20s, it is definitely important. And I think it goes to show too, when you do get that dog and you see them, it is wild what genetics can do.
Genetics brings in all the natural ability and movement and everything too, right? Like it's
Yeah.
if you got a well-bred lab, you only got to be able to train it half the way, and it'll definitely meet you the other half too.
Yeah. I was impressed. We did end up getting one here local to Utah for him. And the night we brought her home, he threw one of the little, he's all excited, has like a little duck or whatever, and threw that. And she immediately went and grabbed it, fetched it, and brought it back to him. And he was feeling like a big deal. He's like, that's right. That's my dog. I got her trained. We're like, Cooper, you've known her for like 1 hour.
Yeah,
But I'm like, damn, that goes to show the difference of, just like you're saying, the genetics of being a lab.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And when you have a dog like that too, your bond changes because you're not dealing with something that doesn't have it, and you're everything's kind of you have you're working with the dog and they're doing what you want, and there's setbacks, and then they
Mm-hmm.
do what you want, but it's just the bond that you build with that dog. You can't even explain it unless you've done it, unless you have it.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
No, you're totally right in that. There's like a confidence in each other and abilities, and they're not butting the heads as often.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think's the biggest misconception people have about owning hunting dogs?
I don't even know how to answer that one, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think people think it's cheating
Mm.
is a lot that I get. Oh, you can't hunt unless you got your dog. And it's like, hunting dogs are actually they're a conservation tool, and you get guys that are hunting birds, waterfowl or upland. They'll shoot a bird and it goes and lands somewhere. And, the dogs find 99.9% of those birds,
Mm.
and humans don't. They find maybe 40% of them, you know
Yeah.
and I think they're a necessary tool.
That's a really fantastic point. I like that. That is a good point. Something like a misconception I had too is going back to what you said when you were looking for essentially like your LT, is I always just assumed labs, because we've had friends that have labs and they're just like terrorists. They're such full of energy and like they would not shut off. But I think, like you're saying, when you've got those good genetics and training behind it, it doesn't always have to be that way.
No, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can train your dog, but they still need that genetic part, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
LT's kind of a man's dog at this point. She's been shot twice by
Oh.
hunters, and it's like, so now what she does is when she sees new people, new men showing up,
Mm-hmm.
is she hair goes up and she barks. And
Mm.
then about 2 seconds later, she's their best friend again. But the initial is she's like, I'm here, right?
Yeah.
Like, don't. And it kind of developed after a couple times of getting blasted by
Yeah.
excited dummies, right? So
Right. It's hard to blame a girl.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Is there anything you're doing to help train her to maybe not be that way, or are you not
No,
worried
I
about
let
it?
her be that way now. I let her be that way. We deal with a lot of hunters that are, a lot of these guys that don't have dogs
Mm-hmm.
are, some of them are dickheads actually, like they're all the dog, and I think maybe they're just afraid of the dogs
Mm.
on one point, but a lot of the places we go, the dogs are in their crates in the back of the truck. And for a dog to bark at someone approaching her, I'm okay with that. It just makes them leave her alone anyways,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Right. She's allowed to be that way.
she's allowed to be that. She's earned it now.
Yeah.
So the other dogs, no, the other dogs don't get to do that, and they don't do that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but she's just a different dog. She's my dog. Everyone's trying to buy her, and I'm like, no,
No, she's mine.
she's all mine.
Yeah, you waited 9 years for her.
Yeah.
I'm curious too, because you said you wanted her to be able to go out and be a lab, and clearly she's out and she's earned her right to do that, and she does a fantastic job.
Yeah.
What is then your guys' relationship like when you come home?
She's my shadow. She
Yeah.
follows me everywhere, and our relationship here is I have all the other dogs. We run around doing their thing, or they're sleeping or whatever. And if I move, her head's up, or if I'm doing something, she's sitting there and she just stares at me with like hearts in her eyes.
Aw.
Like, oh yeah, she's my girl for sure. Our
Is
relationship is great at home. Yeah.
That's awesome. Did you guys have an instant bond?
Kind of like her name's LT. It means little Tika, and she's
Okay.
a Tika daughter. And when she was born, we ended up having an emergency C-section for that litter because Tika just there. One of them had one of the heads was too big; it was stuck, and LT was the one that was born in my hand. And as she grew a little bigger, her everything about her was the same. Like she had a shorter tail than the rest, like Tika did, and just everything was. She was a little Tika, but black, not chocolate.
Uh-huh.
So I kind of Antica, like I love that girl. She sleeps on my bed at night. But that's why I picked her, and out of all the other puppies, she was the one that was more driven to bring me stuff. Not even just the retrieving, just bringing me stuff. So she brought me my shoes and all my everything.
Yeah.
So
She's like taking care of
she's
you.
she's yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Cute. When it comes to obviously, if people want a puppy and they can make it work, getting one from you. But what are things you would suggest looking for when looking for a hunting dog?
Well, it really depends on the people too, right? So when somebody gets a
Okay.
dog from me and they're like, I want a hunting dog, it's like, okay, well, how many days are you going to hunt with the dog? And they're like, well, I might hunt 6 weekends a year. Oh, okay. Well, then, what else are you going to use the dog for? It's like, oh, we're going to go hiking, or we're going to be family, or, I need to know all these things. So when someone says, I want a hunting dog, the breeder really should be asking them more questions about what exactly kind of the hunting they're doing and how much, you know,
Smart. Yeah.
it's important. Because if you're only going to hunt it, and people want to pick their puppy. I want a
Hmm.
hunting dog. I want to pick my dog. And it's like, well, I spent the last 8 or 9 weeks with them. And, once a breeder knows what the people are after and what they want, you can help them pick their puppy, right? You don't just give
Yeah.
them the choice to pick whatever they want because it may not be what they want. They think it is, but it's usually not.
Hmm.
So if they're looking for a hunting dog, they need to let the breeder know exactly what they're going to use the dog for.
Smart. Yeah. I know my husband Cody had talked to you a few months ago when we were considering getting Cooper one from
Yeah.
you. And you had like, he's like, I have so much respect for Trev because he laid it to me flat out like, what are you guys going to do for hunting? How many days are you going to be hunting? And he's like, for me, a hunting dog, yes, I think that would be the route I go. But where Cooper, he's a teenager, he's into sports, he wants to go hunting and do all the things, but he's not going to be hunting 100 days a year as much as he would love to. But,
No.
and he appreciated your honesty with him in that because he was like, yeah, when the time comes for me to get one, for sure. But like you said, it's really getting to know that. And he appreciated your honesty in that. And it really made him think too when he started looking for Cooper, what kind of dog to look for and what he needed.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, my son is going to be 14 right away. And I know that if he was to get a dog too, it's like, well, yeah, he wants a hunting dog, but I know now he's into girls and he's into all these other things. And it's like, well,
Right.
let's let him, grow through it first,
Yes.
go through the process of being a dum dum, and
Yeah.
then have a dog, right?
Yep.
So, it was, yeah, I remember I talked to him. We had a great talk. Yeah. It's part of it.
Yeah. We appreciated your honesty in that. If you follow me or Cody for that matter on social media, hell, even just listen to our gear recommendations on the show, you have heard and seen this company numerous times. That's Sheep Feet. Sheep Feet is known for customized orthotics to your feet and your boot. Each pair of orthotics they make is different and 100% custom to each person's feet. Their process gives them a precise replica of your foot, which allows them to make high quality orthotics specifically for you. Each pair is handmade and constructed in the USA. I'm telling you, having Sheep Feet in your boots You like don't know what you're missing until you have them. And then you're like, how did I ever do anything without these? It makes a huge difference to up your gear. And now they have my favorite hoodie of all time. It's been decided, it's official. The Hideout hoodie. You have seen me in this probably too much, but I don't really care. I'm just going to keep wearing it. I have it in black, which is my go to, and also green, which is perfect for the mountain. I love this for a hunting layer or honestly just day to day, especially for the gym. The hideout pocket, honestly, is what sold me at first. It is Sherpa lined and also water and wind proof, making it a built in hand warmer. Mummy likey. Crafted from durable grid fleece, it keeps you cooler when moving and warmer when you're not. It has zipper pockets to keep items secure and a fitted high zip hoodie for added utility. It's real perfect to hide from the wind or just when like you're over for the day feeling a little emo from all the people, but I really do like it to go up high over for the wind, and it has comfortable thumb holes. If you know, you know. This is perfect for hunters who love versatility in a single piece of gear, no matter the season of the hunt. Sheep Feet also released their stealth bombers last fall, and these are the ultimate stalking and hunting shoe. You're definitely gonna want to check these out now before it gets too close to bow season. These are a hot commodity. Plus, they have some other awesome apparel like shirts and something coming down the pipeline that I'm excited to share with you guys when it drops. We've been lucky enough to be field testing some of it. Listen, don't settle for anything less than custom. Be sure to check it all out at sheepfeetoutdoors.com. They have hooked you guys up with 10% off too. Plus, Sheep Feet are HSA and FSA card approved. Go to sheepfeetoutdoors.com and use our code RECKONING for 10% off. Again, that's sheepfeetoutdoors.com and use our code RECKONING, RECKONING, for 10% off your next order. Do you also train as well?
I do train.
Okay.
The way I do it is I do board and train. I'm not gonna, you know, it's not an obedience thing where you show up once a week for the
Mm.
evening, and it's got to be board and train, and it's a minimum 4 months, and we do the whole process that way. So you'll do the obedience up. I do 2 stages of obedience, and then we start on the other stuff.
When
So
do most people send their dog to you?
I like to well, unless they're born here, then I like them around 4 months. But if they're not, then I'd like to see them around 6 months or once they've got their adult teeth in,
Okay.
and then start everything from there.
I'm curious, is there things that you can do to like help your dog be desensitized to like the gun or water?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of guys, what they do is with doing the introducing gunfire is they'll have somebody off at a distance, and they'll fire some rounds, and over a couple of weeks start getting closer and closer, and until you can get right up over top of the dog
Mm.
and see how it reacts. I don't do that. What I do is I bring out a dog like LT and the puppy sitting beside her, and I'll use a dummy launcher that's super loud, and I'll launch one of the dummies and send LT, and the puppy doesn't know what's going on. They might get a little bit scared from it, but when they see LT go get it and come back a couple times, they're just into it. I've never had a dog become gun shy doing it that way.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, once
That's
when they're watching the other dogs, it's totally different than trying to introduce it from a distance and on their own, and
mhm.
same as water. Let them see the big dogs going in and having fun, you know,
Smart. In a way, they're like
and
kids.
they are like kids, yeah. And your tone too. Like I mean, if people heard what I sound like talking to these puppies, they'd be like, that's not the same guy. You get this high pitch, and I'm like a kid
Yeah.
at that point, right?
Yeah.
So, but you have to be exciting. You got to be the most exciting thing in their life for them to want to do it with you. So,
Yeah, that's smart. Be excited with them too. When and how do you start introducing real birds? Do you wait till they're a certain age?
it depends on the dog again. Like I watch how they are, but what I do is I start the retrieving young.
Okay.
And what I'll use is a paint roller, like the small paint rollers.
Yeah.
And I do the hallway trick. It's you close all the doors in a hallway so that they only have one direction to go is back to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll throw the dummy down, and they'll go get it and bring it back. And I'm excited, clapping, and they get a high reward for that. I don't give little treats for that. I give like half a hot dog. And they're like, whoa, because they're 8 weeks old, you
Yeah.
know? And I'll do that 3 times with total excitement. And then I take it away. And I only do 3 a day. And then that way, once I take it away, they're excited the next day to do it again.
Mm.
So you're building the drive right there. And if you don't do it that way, if you let them, if you keep doing these little retrieves until they get bored and don't come back, you're now training the retriever out of the dog.
Mm.
So don't let that happen. And then as they get excited for that, I'll introduce dead birds and we'll get outside and have a fenced off area with the same pathway that they can go with a dead bird. And then after maybe around 12 to 16 weeks, I'll start introducing live birds.
Okay.
And usually it's pigeons at that point. And they go and they have their fun.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the birds, but it's part of it. It's
It's part
and
of the
and
deal.
then it's part of the deal. And then you start as they get older, you get into the bigger birds that are fighting
Hmm.
back and stuff. And
Do you have like a pigeon guy or do you raise your own?
yeah, no, I don't raise my own. No,
Okay.
I got a guy that traps them around here,
Uh,
and then you grab them and yeah,
No, spring him to you. Well,
yeah,
Coop's behind on the live bird training, man, on his dog already. I didn't realize you could be doing it so soon.
yeah. Well, I mean, if it depends on the dog too,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know.
she's doing a great job, like I said, retrieving, and she's
Yeah,
excited about it. She loves to retrieve.
yeah.
Um, yeah. And then he got like a wing that we had got her, and she like went crazy for the dead bird wing. So it might be time to figure something out with her.
I think so. How
Yeah.
old is she?
I think she's 16 weeks.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. You can start. Or what you do is you get two wings, and then you get the training dummies, like the DT training dummy,
Okay. Yeah, we
and
have one
you
of those.
tape two wings to it, and then you start using that for the retrieves,
Okay.
and they'll get the feel of the almost a birdie feel, and then introduce the dead bird,
Okay.
and then start going from there, like with the live bird with clipped wings, and
Just
yeah,
gradual process. Cool. No, that's
yeah,
exciting. I think she'll be excited because, like I said, she gets real stoked to do that kind of stuff, which is
yeah,
a good thing. Like I said, all back to genetics, right? We're just like blown away of like, oh, sweet, we actually have a retriever.
yeah. Well,
That's new.
it's once you have that retriever in, they start bringing you everything.
Oh
Like we'll go
yeah.
do the river cleanups and that for all the fly fishermen that are along the Bow River and that we'll
Uh
do
huh.
some river cleanup and I'll bring my dog Storm for that and she brings me shit I don't want her bringing back. Like we're getting
Yeah.
needles and all kinds of like, but that's but I mean that's the garbage cleanup, the river
Yeah.
cleanup,
She's like,
right?
I'm here
So
to help.
yeah, she just shows up with stuff and that's what they do.
I'm curious. A lot of people are asking about like, what do you think the core foundations are for good obedience in a dog?
A good core foundation.
Yeah.
The few main things that I think is the dog should be trained to do absolutely everything that you want it to do in busy setting on leash.
Mm.
And I think that a sit on a whistle is important.
Mm.
And I think that the recall is important and just, the desensitizing them to everything, right? Like, I don't know how to really answer that one because I mean, obedience is what's obedience?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like, is it an urban obedient dog? Is it a obedient dog that's not going to be around all these things, right?
Hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah. I think desensitization is really important. I even know just outside of like hunting dogs, just dogs in general that we've had,
Yeah,
since puppies, letting like the kids play with them, I've
yeah,
noticed has made such a better dog with patience and like being around people and chaos.
yes,
I think that's made a big difference. But I agree, like the sitting, and I know a lot of people have a problem with like their dogs jumping and things like that.
yeah, yeah. That's huge. Obedience. That's obedience right there too, right?
Hmm.
But even then, I mean, you can get dogs that it's just their thing.
Hmm.
Like no matter what you do, they jump, and it's like you got to leave a leash on them. And the most obedient dog, for some reason, likes to jump up and say hello. So you got to just stand on that leash, and it shocks them when they can't move.
Hmm.
And you could do that for 2 years, and they still will do it. You know,
Yeah.
it's true. It's tricky.
Well, it sounds like too what you're saying is like really get to know your dog and their limits
Yeah.
and in the way that they react so you can help that obedience.
Yeah. Well, I let my dogs get away with certain things too.
Mm,
And I mean, some people are like, oh, they don't want their dog to do anything. They just want it to sit there and look pretty. And, you know, I let my dogs be shitheads.
yeah.
They listen well and they do what I want. But I mean, I'm not just going to tell them no on every single thing. And,
Hmm.
so
It sounds
let
like you
them,
also let them like live life.
yes,
I like
let
that.
them live. It's a short life. Let them do it. Like even when we go hunting, half time I'm not even hunting. I'm just taking pictures and videos and watching them do their thing, or I'll follow them and we can end up, you never know where you'll end up when you follow a hunting dog, right?
Yeah. It's so incredible. Did you always love dogs from a young age?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up, we always had dogs in the house.
Yeah.
I've always been around them.
Yeah. Are you like an animal guy? Like when you see animals and you're like, let me
I
love you?
actually am. Yeah. Yeah, I am. Actually, I am. Right. Like it's, a lot of people think when you're a hunter, you don't like animals or, but it's the opposite completely. You know,
I
I love
agree.
animals. Yeah.
I agree. No, you just remind me of my youngest son, Rivers, like when you're talking about just like watching the dogs go
Yeah.
and just like enjoying them. Like he's such an animal lover that like that's how he is. He's always like, look at him work. Wow. Can you imagine
Yeah.
that? You sound like a grown up version of that.
Yeah. It's when you get out there, if you get to experience it, it's different because you get out there and the mornings are cold or cool and the sun's coming up, the dogs are moving, you can see their breath all around them.
Mm,
It's just
hmm.
I could watch that. That's something I hope I can watch for a long time.
It's not something I don't think I've ever. My husband had a lab when we first got together, and she was like okay, but she was she was a dog that always had health issues. She was just kind of always something going on. And so have never really got to sit over a dog that knows how to like work and be a lab.
Mhm.
And I look forward to the opportunity to do that because, like you said, and my obviously Cody and Coop have, and they're just like entranced by it.
Well, when you get into some of these, like if you ever get into like the really big duck blinds where you
Hmm.
got 10 shooters and the dogs are there and there's kids and you got a chef in the back and
Yeah, I've never had
it's
that.
just a total gong show, and birds are coming in and the sound it makes when they all come in and everybody's firing off and then you send the dogs and the kids to pick up birds.
Oh.
The addiction is unreal.
Hmm.
The adrenaline is there, the excitement is there, and then birds are coming back and you're yelling at kids to lay down and the dogs are down. And it's just, I absolutely love bow hunting and hunting big game. But when you get into that, it's
Hmm.
just like, there's nothing like it.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah.
I have never had an experience like that when it comes to waterfowl and
Yeah.
hunting. And everyone, I feel like the people that really love it too have had that like full experience. And I've never got to do that. And we have buddies that are like, we're going to do it. We're going to show you what it's all about. I'm like, hey, show me. Because
Yeah.
my experiences are much different.
Well, it's a lot of the times you just go out and you're hanging out with the family or
Mm-hmm.
or a couple people and you're quiet and the
Mm-hmm.
birds might come in or a few come in. It's not the same. Like here, you get into Saskatchewan and you've got, 1,000 or 2,000 birds coming in at a time. You know, some of them get up to 100,000 of those snow geese,
Holy
and
shit.
you're losing your mind as they're coming in,
Yeah.
and there's nothing like it.
Yeah. Oh, I think Cody and Cooper would just be like crying of happy tears if they saw something like that happening because that is
Yeah,
so far from our Utah hunts for sure.
different. Yeah,
It sounds beautiful. Is there like a feeding routine that you do with your dogs too? That was another question that was brought up when it came to training.
a feeding routine.
Yep, meaning
Um,
like it was like once a day, twice a day.
I feed twice a day.
Okay.
My lifestyle lets me feed twice a day, so we
Mm.
feed. They eat around 4:30 in the morning, and then they'll eat again around 5 in the evening.
Okay.
And when I'm training young dogs, their feeding is their training treats is their food.
Oh,
So
okay.
they'll get half their food, and then the other half they got to find it in tall grass and use their nose and stuff like that. So get their nose work going. So they have to find the food.
Okay.
And then
Smart.
when we're hunting though, like really hunting, it's LT will eat once a day, and it's usually within 4 hours after we're done hunting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good to know. If people are wanting, are you currently accepting like clients to take on training?
Not right now, no.
No, you're booked.
No, I'm booked. Yeah, where I get you can't even get a puppy from me right now. Like we're booked. I'm booked. LT puppies are all sold.
Wow.
So her next few litters, that's it. Nobody can get one unless you're on her list already.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other list for chocolates is going into 2028 now. So
Dang.
it's been booked.
That's crazy. Is that
Yeah.
like, do you have a surreal moment looking at where you are now versus where you started?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm blown away by it. Like sometimes I forget, and I wish I didn't, because the way my life is right now, I work really hard for 4 months,
Mm.
and then the rest of the year I'm doing, I'm talking to people and organizing things. But I mean, I can go get a coffee anytime I want. I'm in flip flops most of the year. Like and I
Yeah.
kind of forget like where I'm at with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really fortunate to have that, and it's, yeah, I don't know. The dogs have changed a lot of things for me. Social media has changed a lot of things too.
That's amazing. When did you get on social media?
2019.
Okay. Do you feel like the
Yeah.
last couple years it's really taken off?
Yeah, it has.
And
The
that's brought
last
a,
year and a half has really taken off, and it's brought a lot of things my way.
and you were like to be a guy running around in flip flops to once you were welding.
Yep. And working almost years of it.
What does kind of like a day in your life look like? It sounds like there's like maybe your busy time and then your
Yep.
more chill time. Like where are you right
Yeah,
now?
right now, I mean, it's gonna sound like everyone else, kind of, I guess. It's like
Mm-hmm.
I get up, I do the dogs, I get in my desert plunge, I go to the gym, or some mornings I don't go to the gym. I'll do some stuff outdoor, like an outdoor exercise of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'll come back. I'll make sure my kid's up and going to school, because usually he likes to sleep in. And
Teenagers.
then teenagers, yeah. And then yeah, I will make some calls. I'll do some emails, go for coffee, do all those things. I'm not overly busy, to be honest. Like I'm busy with stuff. I shouldn't say that. Like I'm not doing a 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
My busy is I talk to a lot of people throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
So
And then you have training in there as well, or do you have someone
yeah.
training for you?
Nope, I do, and I'll do training as well. Like I do around 4 hours a day of training.
Okay. And are
Yeah.
you just rotating out dogs or do you do like group, a little bit of
Nope.
both?
A little bit of both, yeah. So airing them out and then training them is two different things, but I don't walk dogs, but they run and they do their thing 4 times a day.
Mhm.
And then the training, I don't overtrain dogs. Like we go pretty easy. So like even when you're into the hold conditioning, it's only 10 minutes for a dog a day. Like you don't want to overdo it, right?
And then what does your evenings look like? Are you then going back to the gym and
Yeah, I do.
unwinding?
Evenings I go back to the gym, and I like to shoot my bow in the evenings and stuff like that. Back to the gym though.
That's more
Right
like
now
your
it's
you time.
that's my time, yeah. And it's like right now so someone reached out to me and asked how to lose 50 pounds for a surgery. She had to lose 50 pounds in order to get a surgery. And instead of explaining how to do it, I said, well, I'll do it with you.
Oh,
So now I'm dropping 50 pounds by June 1st. We've been doing it a couple months now, but then
okay.
she dropped out. She quit.
Oh,
And I'm like, well, I'm going to see it through. So
yeah.
I'm still going to drop it down. And I don't know this. I don't know her personally. She just reached out on social media, and I figured, well, it's the best way to do it is to have someone do it with you. So hopefully she can see that it can be done,
Yeah.
and do it and then get the surgery that she needed.
Yeah.
So I am in the gym twice a day right now, and I'm in a 1,500 calorie deficit, which is fucking bullshit.
They're so hungry.
I start thinking about snacks. Yeah. Oh yeah. It gets pretty rough.
Uh,
So
Deficits can be gnarly, especially when you're in the deficit and you're working twice a day,
yeah.
working out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I start having dreams about food and stuff. It's trippy. Like,
Yeah. I had that, like, I was even that I had ate. I remember having a dream that I'd like not even binge something, just ate something like a cookie or something and like a Powerade that wasn't like a zero. So then I got all these. And I remember waking up in a panic and I'm like, what a dumb thing to wake up in a panic about.
yeah.
Yeah.
It happens though. You're like, oh, what?
It does.
Yeah.
But you're until June 1st, you said? So you're
Yeah.
almost a month away.
Almost a month away. Yeah.
You're in it to win it now.
Yep.
How?
Yeah. It's hard to lose. I mean, I guess I could have lost some. I'm not very tall. Like I'm
Okay.
like 5'8", 5'9".
Mm,
And I've always been kind of jacked for my whole life. Like I'm 230 pounds most of the year. And now like I'm going to be running pretty lean
mm-hmm.
and I'm liking it. I like how I feel now too. I've
Yeah.
lost a lot of muscle from it, but I mean, I'm getting older too. So it feels kind of good to be a little more lean and lighter and,
Yeah.
you know,
Do you feel like you've also maybe gained some mobility through that?
I absolutely have. Yeah. Like I was never a fat guy, you know,
Yeah.
just bigger guy. Like, and I've definitely, even with losing the amount of muscle I have and everything else, my mobility's way different.
Yeah. Which makes a
Yeah.
big difference with age and then also being an outdoorsman,
Yeah, absolutely.
preventing injuries and stuff like that. How obviously this kind of started because you were trying to help a stranger essentially.
Yeah.
But were you already having these thoughts about like you needed to up your fitness and nutrition to
No,
perform better as a
well, that's
hunter?
kind of, I mean, my fitness and nutrition's always been good.
Mm,
Right. But I was more of a, I was more of, I was a pretty muscular guy and that's where I wanted to be.
mm.
But now, you know, this has changed a lot of things for me.
In what
I do
ways?
a lot of just with the mobility and how I feel. You know, my hunting seasons are long. So like last year I did 41 days straight in my tent and I got my moose and my elk and my two bears and I hunt by myself. So it's, you know,
That's
when you're
awesome.
packing all that out, it's, you know, at some point my heart rate was getting up to like 174 coming up the hills with this moose quarter and stuff. And I mean, I'm okay with that, but you know, now being, if I'm 50 pounds lighter and, you know, it might change a lot,
Yeah.
you know,
Interesting. Endurance
not
wise,
huffing. Yeah.
for sure. Yeah. 50 pounds
Yeah.
lighter.
50 pounds lighter. And instead of 4 tags, I've got like 9 this year.
All
So
in
I'm not,
Canada?
yeah, all here. So, and the way I do it is because the way I do it is once I start, I'm not coming home till I'm done.
Okay.
So I'm fortunate that I can do that, but
Yeah.
it's not, I don't try and get out for the weekend and get a moose. It's once I
Mm,
go, I'm not coming back till I'm done.
that's badass. So when do you anticipate to start that?
I'm
Like
going to start
August?
September 1st this
September.
year. I
Okay.
always start August. I usually leave August 24th and then it starts August 25th, but I'll
Mm,
have puppies right up till August 30th this year.
mm.
So I'm going to leave September 1st and then I'm not coming home, even if it's till November. That's it. I'm not coming back.
I
So,
said I'm not coming
well,
back.
and I've got some big commitments with some brands and some companies this year, and
Yeah.
some things changed. So,
Hell
like I've
yeah.
always used my bow, and this year I was asked to do some precision shooting and precision hunting. So, a whole new things changed with that.
Yeah. That adds a whole other element to it all. That's fun though. It sounds like it's going to
It's
be a
fun.
year of pushing yourself and doing some new things.
Yeah, yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm learning a lot of stuff too.
When
Yeah.
you're out there, do you have contact like with your family? Or are you like, do
I
you have
do
service,
like
a Garmin?
I have my Garmin. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
got my InReach. I use the InReach Explorer. I'm still running the old one. I like it a lot. I
Yeah.
can text through it and stuff and send my location. But a lot of times I can get service when I get back up to my truck because I'll do a mobile camp, right? I'm in my truck and I got my
Mm.
rooftop and I can move just depending on where the elk are and stuff like that, right? So
Does
I'll
LT go
have
with?
no,
Okay.
no, she's not allowed here actually. You're not allowed to use a dog for, you're not allowed to have one for any of that. You know, they're like, well,
Even just
they
as a
don't want,
companion?
no, they don't want your dog tracking a moose. And I'm like, well, let's talk about that, right?
Yeah.
Like the dog might be able to track a moose, but I can't keep up with that, right? Like it's not
Yeah.
like it treed the moose.
Right.
So it's the they now they're in another province, and I'm still trying to chase after my dog. So no,
Mm,
you can't do it. I don't know, and I understand it, but they just
yeah. No,
follow the rules, and you'll be all right.
for sure. Yeah. No, I was wondering if she was more of just like, where she's your little shadow.
That's the
She gonna
part.
miss you.
Her hunting season starts right after.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it makes up for it.
it makes up for it. Yeah,
Yeah. I cannot wait to see those adventures and see everything that you do. And that you're out doing that by yourself too. That's badass. I can
yeah.
imagine you're looking
It's
forward to it.
I I think about it from the day I get home from last year. I'm thinking about it, and it's I need it. I take more in than I come out with. Like all my mental stuff, I unload there. You go through
Mm-hmm.
all these emotions on your own there. You
Mm-hmm.
know, all these thoughts, all these things, they all come out.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of shit comes out there.
Yeah. How long have you been doing those solo hunts?
I've been doing them for I guess about 8 years now.
That take a while for you to feel confident in going out by yourself where you said you started doing big game hunting in your 20s?
Yeah. No, no, it was in the beginning, I think I was losing confidence from the guys I was going with.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like they
Yeah.
were just brutal. Right. And it's like
Yeah.
you go hunt, you hunt the morning after breakfast, and then you come back to camp and you sit there and watch these guys fall asleep in their lawn chair until it's evening. And I'm like, I can't do that anymore. Like I
Mhm.
just can't do it. So, it took about a year. I guess the second season, I'm like, I'm on my own.
Mm.
I'm not going to do that anymore. I hunt hard in the morning, obviously, but you hunt throughout the day and the evenings. It's dark till dark for me now.
Mm.
It's like a job. You have a job to do, you go do it and you know, make sure you get it done.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And I do it a little differently. Like guys will sit on a ridge or a hill and they scout looking for animals, which, yeah, you do that. You're scouting for where they are and where they're coming in and coming out. But I like to really scout for the main trails
Mm.
and where the water is. And when I can glass up a really good trail, that's where I go.
You're going to that trail.
I'm going to that trail. Yeah. And
Right.
it's usually a shit show. But you know what? That's where they stand up. They're in there.
Yeah.
So it's they're in there. Go do
Yeah.
it. Go get in there and do it, and you'll have more success, in
Right.
my opinion.
Do you love the suck?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's you look at some of these things, and it actually gets you to do more suck too.
Yeah.
Like you look at some of these areas, and you're like, I don't want to go in there, but I'm going.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it's like that's where hunting alone comes in too, because you'll have somebody that doesn't want to, or they talk you out of it, or I don't want to do that. I just, and year after year they fail or they don't get anything. They're just going home with their tags, right? And
Mhm.
go
Yeah.
in, do it. Just go do it.
Yeah.
You'll be happy with yourself if you do.
No, I think there's a lot to be said about that, doing like a solo hunt, not having that someone else bringing you down or talking you out of it. And there's
Yep.
nothing like going to do something where you're like, oh, this is gonna fucking suck. And then you go
Yep.
do it and you're able to come out and be like, damn,
That fucking sucked.
yeah, that sucked, but that was cool.
But that was, yeah. Well, and
It did
that's, yeah.
fucking suck.
And you get to see some cool stuff, and it's everything. I mean, sometimes you freak yourself out, or
Yeah.
there's lots of stuff that happens along the way.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's or you get into a spot and you're just gonna stay there the night too, because you can't come back out. So
Mm-hmm.
now you're sleeping outside, and you only get so much time with that too. Like I'm
Right.
46 now, and if I can keep hunting by myself for even 10 more times, you know,
Yeah.
that would be
God, when you
awesome.
put it in seasons, isn't that like, damn it?
Yeah, it's real.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of why it's like just go do it. Like what I notice, a lot of guys will hunt, and in the beginning they don't want to do the certain things, and then as they get desperate throughout the week or 2 weeks they're there,
Mm.
they'll start doing the shit they should have did from day one.
Yeah.
And I just do the shit on day one that you would do at the end, right? Like just because you don't know how many times you got left,
Yeah. No, that's
you
a
know.
good mindset to go into it. You're totally right.
Mm.
People, I think weekend warrior it, and then it gets down to the nitty gritty, and they're like, "Oh shit! Like now
They're
it's time
going
to do
into
the
the,
suck." Yeah.
yeah, just start with it. Yeah.
You're talking about like obviously going into hellholes and being by yourself and packing out a moose by yourself. What does your training look like to prepare for that?
Well, so I do a lot of treadmill. I do an incline of like 15, and I do it's 15. My speed's around 3 to 5, depending on how I feel. And
Mm-hmm.
then I'll do that. I'm doing that for an hour a day right now.
Wow.
And then I will do some of that weighted.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of it is I'm on doing weight training. I've toned things down. Like I'm still doing my squats and stuff, but I'm not doing heavy anymore.
Okay.
I've you know, I've gone way down to like 225, and I'll do 4 sets of 12 of that right now.
Mm.
And then more endurance.
Mm-hmm.
I spend a lot of time on the rowing machine now. I spend a lot of time on the salt bike, which is, I don't like that
Oh
at all.
man.
But yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that's why I spend more time on it, because I'm like, I
I
just
hate
shit talk
this.
myself when I'm,
Yeah.
yeah. I belittle myself when I'm there,
Oh, I'm the
but
same way.
it's, yeah, yeah. And then I'm on a meat and fruit diet only, and tons of supplements. So,
Did you just change the way that you started eating during like this cut?
no, I've always kind of ate that way. I just toned her down. I toned it way back. And
Mm-hmm.
I actually cut out some things. Like I cut out completely, I've cut out like rice and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel pretty good
What made that decision
to cut out
to cut
the
out like the rice and kind of eat more just meat
how
and fruits?
how I was feeling actually. Like I was like, if I eat rice, I need a nap after.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, as I get older, I notice it's changing a lot. Like if I eat pasta or anything, I'm like dogged out after.
Yeah,
So
same.
I notice that if I eat this, I'm not chowing on Tums, and I'm not, like there's none of that. It's just I just eat clean and I feel
Yeah,
great.
you feel good.
Yeah. I feel good. Then there's no lulls in the day. Like I feel pretty consistent all day.
That's exactly how I am too. And every once in a while when I do eat something, I'm like, oh, now I remember why I don't. Like I
Yeah.
said, the rice and stuff just gets
Yeah.
you.
It's just
Yeah.
nasty. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there like maybe a fitness? It sounds like you've always been into health and fitness. Do you think there's been like a fitness myth out there that you've seen specifically like for hunters?
A myth?
Yeah.
No, not really. I mean, a fitness myth. Well, I don't know. I think it's just, if you're not doing anything, then you're just setting yourself up for exactly that, nothing. So
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, the whatever it is you can do it, and it'll definitely help you along the way. I mean,
Hmm.
I don't think you need to go run 20 miles a day.
Yeah.
I don't think that's necessary.
Yeah. I think that's something I've seen change a lot, especially the last few years, is like when people thought of hunting, they just immediately thought of like cardio versus like endurance. And also, I think I love seeing it. Finally, people are seeing like a functional fitness makes sense for being a hunter and being outdoors.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that
Movement,
makes
right?
right.
Movement. If I think an important thing is to get your heart rate up, because that's what's going to happen. Like you want once you get your heart rate up, or once you're carrying, if you're packing a quarter out, I mean, your breathing is hard, your heart rate is way up, and that's what you should train throughout the year.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah. That's everyone sees me always like, I'm like, I'll say it till I'm blue in the face, but like the weighted incline walks, like you.
weighted, or if you're doing, try and keep the weight in front of you when you're doing your squats and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
because that's going to take your breath away more than doing back squats and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, no, that's smart. That's a good tip. I like it. That's what we
Mhm.
need. We need those tips.
Yeah.
Are you doing like a specific fitness program or just one that you've kind of come up with over the years?
No, I'm just doing this right now, like just kind of throwing it together. You know,
Mm-hmm. Wait,
I'm trying not to get bored. I used to be a gym bro,
were you?
actually.
I wondered.
Yeah, I used to be, yeah, I was one of those guys for a long time. So
Like into the bodybuilding kind of a
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. I was doing all that stuff, and no, as you get older, you get that shit doesn't matter anymore, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but I mean, at the same time, I want to perform. Like I do,
Yeah.
I'm on TRT, and I do take stuff to keep up with the young guys.
Yeah.
Actually, they can't keep up anyways. But it's I take care of myself that way, and
I think that's awesome. And I like seeing too people that continue to take care of themselves or even as like age comes about that they want to take care of themselves that much better. I feel like that's where I am in life and Cody like we're kind of like shit. We could take care of ourselves, you know?
well, it's a lot of it. It's like I do a lot of people watching.
Yeah.
And when I see a guy that's only 70 and he drops his keys and he can't pick them up, I don't want to be that guy, right? I'm like, I don't want to ever, I don't want to be that,
Same.
So I'm not ruining my back anymore. I'm not destroying, you know,
Mhm.
it's like, you gotta take care of your body because it's the only place you have to live.
Right.
And as you get older, you realize it more.
Mhm. No, like you said, you were, if you look at your life in hunting seasons, like how many hunting seasons do you really have with you to go and hunt the way that you want to? Also.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think people forget too that they could up those seasons by
Oh, absolutely.
maybe
Yeah.
changing the way they eat or getting outdoors or just moving more.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people hit like a certain age and they're just like, "Oh, well, I will never be like in my 20s." Fuck that. You could be better than you were in your 20s.
I'm better now than I was, I think, in my 20s.
I
I was
agree.
too
I feel the
heavy.
same.
I was too, going back to the gym bro thing, I was too heavy in my 20s
Mm.
to do what I'm doing now. I'd be out of breath.
Mhm.
You know, you look great, but you can't run up the stairs
Right.
when you're in that condition, right? It's like
For
you're too,
sure.
and it changes now. It's like, I wish I knew that then, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't do you any good when you're trying to go into somewhere or hike
No.
out with something on your back at all. And to again going like back to that mobility. I'm sure there wasn't near the mobility you have now.
No.
You mentioned supplements and you mentioned obviously like TRT. Are there certain supplements that you love? Because it sounds like you're the perfect person to ask too, because you had like your gym bro sesh, you did all that, and now you've kind of like really probably honed in and figured out what works for you. What supplements do you love and take?
What I love the most is, well, I take creatine, and I take 10 grams of creatine a day.
Okay.
And I've done that for a long time. And I think everyone should be on creatine. I think my grandma should be on it. My son takes it now.
Does he?
And yeah.
I just started
And
back up on creatine and I'm loving it.
yeah. Right. And it's one of those things where as you get older, you just, you know, if you step up onto something that's going to help you not get that injury, you're not
Mhm.
going to tear that, it just keeps you more. Well, the other thing I take is I take a lot of, I can't remember the name for some reason. Yeast rice, yellow yeast rice,
What are you talking? I can't
yellow
remember
yeast.
now.
Well, I can't remember the name. I'm trying to look for it. But anyways, what that does is it keeps your cholesterol down, bad
Okay.
cholesterol. So then I take the omega 3s to keep good cholesterol up.
Okay.
I think cholesterol is good anyway. So,
Right. You're
but
eating
I, but
meat.
I, but I, but I do take it because whatever. I do my blood work every few months and I see it change.
Okay.
And then, but supplements other than creatine and that, I take a ton of caffeine.
Do
I'm
you?
on like so much Ignite and Yeti and
Oh
all that.
man.
And then protein, I don't take any protein powder or stuff anymore. I go through 15 dozen eggs a month now,
Nice.
and it's cheaper.
It
And
really
it's
is.
yeah, and I feel better. There's no, you don't get any bloat or any of that from
Mm-hmm.
protein powder. Just a ton of salt
Mm-hmm.
and eggs.
That's you're just doing like frying up eggs with salt,
Air boil them.
boil them.
Do hard boiled eggs. I eat a lot of hard boiled eggs.
Okay.
Actually, the other thing is that I've been eating them with is salsa.
Ooh,
It
yeah, I
sure,
love eggs and salsa.
yeah. So,
How
but
do you
supplements, what's that?
how do you boil your eggs? I'm just curious.
So what I noticed is because I do a ton of them.
Yeah.
What I do is I have to put them in the pot and then add cold water so they don't crack.
Okay.
Then once the water is boiling, I set a timer for 12 minutes, and then I can peel them off in one shot.
Really?
I'll crack both ends, and then it just peels right off. Yeah.
Damn. Because there's nothing worse than when you're fighting with an egg and then by the time you're done, you have like a yolk left.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll
That's what I
piss you
find
right
works the
off.
best. Yeah. I'm like
Interesting.
10 for 10 now doing it that
Yeah.
way.
I was curious if you had a good way because if not, I was going to recommend we have this like it looks like a spaceship. Have you seen these? It's called like a dash and you poke the hole in like the round side of the egg where the membrane is and then you
Yeah.
put it in there and it steams them and then you pull them out, throw them in ice cold water and then you can pill them super easy. But if you already have a system then
That's what I do because once it's done, I'll put them in cold water, let it run.
uh-huh.
And then, yeah, I crack both ends and
Okay.
then it just peels off. Yeah. Probably the
Interesting.
same idea because it gets that membrane.
Yeah,
All the
smart.
fluid comes out and then it just, yeah.
Mhm. I might have
Yeah.
to try your trick though and see if I can actually do it.
Try it. Yeah.
I will. You mentioned that your dogs are more than just hunting dogs. A lot of times you're training them to work with vets. Can you kind of elaborate on like what that program is and how you go about that?
That would be the more of advanced obedience. So
Okay.
it's getting them. That's a lot of standing around. So, and I use Cabela's and Bass Pro Shops here to do that because they
Okay.
allow the dogs in there and they're busy. And that's a lot of bring the dog in and you stand there and don't let anybody touch it. The dog can't move. You're just hanging out. People can talk to you and stuff, but the
Mhm.
dog has to stay laying down. And it's hours of that.
Something where you're like accepting applications for it.
No, this is,
Okay.
well, people reach out
Okay.
and we see who, I say we, but it's people will reach out and I get to know them and I see what they're after. Right now, one of the guys that's going to get one he's actually a ex firefighter
Okay.
and he holds these seminars for guys and women that have PTSD and stuff. And he's after a dog that's going to, when he holds a seminar, the dog is going to just kind of hang around and walk around and everybody can pet the dog and kind of unload what they need to.
Mm-hmm.
And then a few of the other dogs will be going to fire halls. So when these people come back from a rough call, the dog is there they can kind of unload on the dog again. Yeah.
Very cool.
That's a huge thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then a lot of them, they'll be trained to detect cortisol
Okay.
and just be that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I didn't realize that you had that part of your business as well.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people don't realize that part of it, but that's the part that I like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We had one kid that he had some mobility issues. Well, two. So one kid had some mobility issues and it was his mom and his sisters that he lived with and he's 16 and they weren't outdoorsy. They didn't want to do anything. And he wanted to do those things. Being low mobility, he wanted to swim. He wanted to get outside and I breed English labs and they've got the heavier bone, the heavier muscle, the bigger heads. And around here, it's important because that protects their organs too from the cold water and stuff that
Mm.
we get. But having the bigger dogs, they can lean on it. So now this kid gets to go out with his dog in the bush and they'll go swimming in some dugouts and stuff. And if he has an issue, he can grab that dog and they've got that. They've got each other. And another kid was afraid to take a bath. And he was like 8 at that time when he got it. And the day he got the puppy jumped into the bath with him. And I guess it changed absolutely everything from that day on.
Oh.
So that's important to me. I like that. That's the stuff that I like to hear and see.
Mm-hmm.
And, when you compare that to welding, it's not, yeah, it's not even close, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you found that passion and that fire.
Yep. Yep.
That
So, and then if they want to hunt too, it's cool. Like
yeah.
it's neat to see like some of these guys that they've got their personal things going on and they don't want to get out, but just to see them change it up when the dogs are there and I love it.
Yeah. That's really, really neat. That's yeah, that's incredible. It's
I
incredible what
get
dogs can
goosebumps
do.
from that. Yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
same. You were telling me that. That's incredible that there's that option too where looking back you started as just trying to get a hunting dog and now you've gotten to where you're doing that kind of work is really something special. I know there was a reel that you've recently done that really resonated with Cody, especially. And it was one where it said that you'll be the dad where your kids will say, I'll call my dad, he'll know what to do, essentially.
Yeah.
I'm curious if there's any advice for building that kind of trust and connection with your kids that you may have.
Me and my son are team one. It's just me and him. Like
Okay.
I've had full custody of him for like the last 6 years.
Hmm.
And we've been through a lot and he's been through a lot. And what I've learned along the way is they're kids. Let
Mhm.
them go through it. Let them tell you if things went sideways or they did something stupid, just be there. Be the one that they know that they can call you, you know.
Mhm.
And it doesn't matter what it is. My son can call me at 2 in the morning. He can wake me up. He can tell me he did something really stupid. It doesn't matter. I feel like he needs that. I need that. And it's important.
Mhm.
So, and and also being the one that they want to call, right? Like he looks at the things that I do and I notice now that he's doing some things that he might do them on his own anyways, but I think watching some of the things that I do pushes him. Like him and his buddy go fishing every day in the Bow River here, and the other day he was telling me a story about it's really cold water right now. All the snow in the mountains is melting and the water is cold, and they swam across the river to this buoy because it was nice out, and they were fishing there. He's like, we were wet, and then we dried off, and it got really nice out, and we were fishing, and then it started to get dark and cold really quick. And they're like, man, we had to go back, and they know how cold it's gonna be, and so they said, fuck it, we're gonna put our clothes in the backpack, and we're just gonna go. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, I love hearing that kind of stuff, right? And it's like, well, yeah, do that. If I wasn't the guy that I am, maybe he wouldn't be that kind of guy either, right?
Mhm.
And I loved hearing it when he's like, we knew it was gonna suck because it got cold and we were just got dry, and so they stripped down. I'm like,
Yeah.
perfect. Is I love hearing it. But just if you can be there and if you can show up for what you want them to be, you know, I don't know.
No, I think
And if you're raising men, it's important.
yeah. I think that's a what unfortunately a lot of society forgets at the end of the day. Like we're supposed to be raising adults and men. Yeah. It is cool watching them turn into that too and have like their adult moment or realizing like, damn, you're like able to process this stuff now and make some big decisions.
Yeah. Well, he's 13 and he saved a couple from drowning last year and their dog. And
Oh,
then he
good.
saved another bunch of people in a one of those a raft
Yeah.
from drowning when he was on the river too. Like these people their dog ran out onto this dugout thing that he was fishing at with just a little bit of water. The rest was frozen. Their dog ran out and fell through the water, and the woman ran out and fell through. And then her husband went in after and fell through, and he ended up saving them.
Wow.
And it was like because he knew what to do, right? He
Mhm.
knew he cold plunges. He knows how to handle the cold water. He knows you give it that 30 seconds without panicking before you start doing what you got to do. And he helped them. It was on the news. And then he helped when he was fishing, a raft got stuck and the people were too afraid to get out. And he stripped down and swam out and grabbed the raft and brought it back in. And I mean, he was only 12 last year.
Damn.
So it's huge. Our mindset here is huge. And, it's the way it is.
Yeah. No, it sounds like that's reflecting in the young man that you're raising. How do you think fatherhood has shaped your approach to the outdoors?
I think that it hasn't.
Mm.
I leave him for months at a time when I go hunting.
Mhm.
And he's a fishing kind of guy, and he's not. I think maybe he'll get into hunting this year, but it's most people are like, well, you can't leave him. You got to be there for him. Like I'm leaving, you know. So
Yeah.
I think I'm not a good example for that. On one hand, right? Because I'm going. I have to do this. And I think he realizes it now, and he'll take that with him later on too. But I'm not like until he wants to come with me and do these hunts and stuff, which I'm hoping will be this year. I think then it might start to maybe then I could combine the two, being a
Mm-hmm.
father and a hunter together. But fishing is different for kids because they have success
Yes.
usually right away. And when it comes to hunting, it's like, last year I went dark till dark and it took me 9 days to get my moose. I did 1,060 kilometers on foot, and it's for kids to be a part of that. They don't want any part of that. They're bored. They're not seeing anything. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
I think the bond between a dad that fishes versus hunts is way different.
Yes. Do you think, I'm curious with that though, do you think you'll take him for smaller spaces of time and maybe adjust a little bit how you're hunting?
Yeah, well, I'm going to try and get him a bear this year.
Cool.
I think it would be exciting, because I'm not doing just archery this year. I'm doing some rifle stuff now,
Mm,
so I think he would enjoy that. I just had a rifle built. I just picked it up the other day actually, and he came with me, and he was hitting steel at 4 and 600. So
right on.
I think he'll be, if he does it enough, he'll have fun. And I think if he got a bear, it would change. Yeah, I think he would start wanting to come more
I would think
once
so.
that happens. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Damn, I know I have so many like I'm like, "Oh, I could talk to you about bear hunting forever, all the things. We're gonna have to get you back to hear all your adventures when you go on this."
Yeah, I do 2 bears a year, and that's my favorite hunt. Easy.
Is
They're
it?
hard. They're tricky.
Are you spot and stock? Are
Yeah.
you
No,
baiting? Okay.
no, spot and stock only. And that's why it's tricky.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Bears, once they find you out, you're not calling in a stupid elk that's in rut and they're just like, I'm coming in, like bears are, even if it's windy, you can't find them.
Yeah.
They're skittish.
But
You know?
you're fairly successful on them.
Yeah, well, I use the wind and movement for everything. I made a video not long ago, of the bear that I got last year. It's like the bear was only 300 yards from me, but the way I had to get him to beat the wind, it took me 5.5 hours to go around and come back up in the wind, and hopefully they're there. But
Yeah.
that's the process that you got to go through, and if you really want to get it
Hmm.
without being found out,
Yeah. Are you
you know
bow hunting too?
bow hunting, yeah,
So badass.
it's a lot of fun.
I can't wait to get a bear
Stay.
with a bow.
Oh yeah. It's I find too, like bears, like when you shoot a bear, usually they're near some rough cover.
Hmm.
And when you shoot a bear, you don't get that blood trail. They bleed into their fat, and
Hmm.
a lot of guys are like, well, they bleed into their hair. It's into their fat usually. But when you shoot a bear and it runs into the bush, it's like 9 times out of 10 they ran in 45 yards and J hooked to the right,
Yeah.
even if they're wounded or not. Wounded or they die. That's the way they went. Every time, that's the way they went. So when they're tracking their bear, you go in and hook to the right and pay attention. But with a bow, it's way more devastating. It opens them right up, right?
Yeah.
So they don't go very far on a good shot. Like, I've
That's what
seen
I've
I've
been
seen
told.
yeah. And mechanicals. I run mechanicals for that,
Do you?
and
Okay.
it just ruins them, right?
Yeah. That's
You
so
know,
badass. I can't wait. One
yeah,
day.
it's a lot of
One
one
day.
day. Yeah, it's a
We
lot of fun.
have a harvest objective because we can't ours is like a limited entry draw here in Utah. So I'm still in my waiting period from getting my last one, but I can do a harvest objective and I'm like, I have dibs on the one going with my bow. All you rifle hunters, get in the back.
Beat it.
Cody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, it's my turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's badass. I can't wait to see how that goes for you and your moose as well. Do you want to do a few rapid fire questions and then I can let you get out of here?
Sure.
Well, you already kind of told us this one. I was going to ask if you have a dog voice, yes or no, but it sounds like LT gets the sweet side of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does.
What is the favorite dog name that you've ever given?
Prada.
Prada. That's a good
Prada
one.
girl. She
Prada
was
girl.
she was exactly that. She was a Prada girl.
Was she? Aw. What's your dream hunt location?
Dream hunt location. It would be the Yukon.
What
Yeah.
are you hunting?
I would really like to get up there for moose and caribou.
Mm-hmm. That'd be badass. And by yourself?
I would like to. Yeah.
Yeah. If your dog could talk, what's the first thing they would roast you on?
Oh, the first thing that they would roast me on,
Oh my
I don't
god,
know.
if my dog could
That
talk.
oh yeah, I don't know. I don't even know.
She'd tell everyone what a big teddy bear
Shit,
you are.
shit, probably yeah, yeah,
I know, airing out all of our dirty secrets, huh?
yeah.
All right, you just wrapped up a gnarly hunt. What's your go-to guilty meal? Like gas station grub, a burrito, fast food, what is it? Or are you going to make
It
steak?
no, no. Steak is usually before I go.
Okay.
When I get back, it's usually like a loaded, huge, full turkey dinner.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, with
like
like
all the things, like
all the
as if it
things.
was Thanksgiving, but it's not.
Really?
Yeah,
It's not what I expected. I like it
no,
though.
no.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
It's what you
It's like the
crave, huh?
it's what I crave. Yeah,
That's too funny. I love it. And then do you take a really good nap after?
yeah. Usually
Yeah. Yeah. That turkey, man. What is a Labrador trait that you secretly relate to?
that they are willing to go into absolutely anything that most people
Mm,
wouldn't want to go into.
yeah. That's a good one. All right, your kid needs your help. What's the first thing you're going to say to him to calm him down?
But it sounds, I've had this and it kind of sounds like I'm child abusing him, but I'm like, shut the fuck up, right? Stop
Yeah. Yeah.
and tell me, right? Like I get really aggressive with that when it's, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know.
No.
It sounds bad, but it's like
No.
I take away any hard feelings immediately.
Right. No.
Yeah.
I giggle because that sounds just like Cody or like me. I'm like, calm like just breathe. Sometimes you have to or they're just going to keep going. No, I like that. And then what's one piece of gear you can't go without in the field?
Cannot go without
Mhm.
is going to be I would say rangefinder. Can't go without it. With archery, we started back in the day without that stuff,
Mhm.
but it's so necessary now that that's one thing that I shot my moose last year at 68 yards and I ranged him at 68. I set my sight at 68 and I punched his heart out. And
Yeah.
that is the one thing that is super necessary.
What kind of sight do you run? Like a slide sight?
No, I run a spot hog,
Okay.
just an older
Mhm.
single pin. Yeah.
Oh, nice. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me and go through all of our rapid fired questions, kind of get to know you a little bit more. What adventures do you have coming up recently? I know you've got that long hunt come fall. Anything else happening this spring?
It, this spring, not really. I was gonna do. I don't do bears in the spring because they don't taste as good. So I wait for
Really?
fall. Yeah, our bears eat grain and oats and berries, and it's unbelievable. So
See, and I've
I wait
always
for
heard
fall.
opposite. So that's interesting.
I wait for fall. Their grain-fed bears is it's pretty good. So I'm not doing that. Our waterfowl, like our snow geese, started March 15th and it goes until June 15th. And I was gonna go do that, but I've got breedings. I just did a breeding, and now I have another one on Saturday. I'm breeding LT Saturday, so all this has been written off for me for that. I'll be
Mhm.
around here and just making some content for some new brands that I picked up
Right
and
on.
stuff like that. Yeah,
Exciting stuff. Where can
yeah.
everybody find you? Pimp yourself out. Where's your
Best
Instagram? All this
best
stuff.
place is Compass Grid Labradors on Instagram. I just posted my first video kind of on YouTube, but I'm gonna get a bit more for that first. That'll be like a 2.0, all the stuff you can't put on Instagram.
Nice. Yes.
And then yeah, that's pretty much what I'm running right now.
Cool. Well, I'm excited to see your YouTube when you come out with that too. Make sure you share it with us all so that we can check it
Yeah,
out and
you betcha.
subscribe. Well, thank you so much, Trev. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate it too. It's good talking to you.
You too. We'll have to have you back so we can get some more of those adventures, those hunting adventures, now that we've got to know you a little bit, see how that all goes.
Yeah, that'd be
Definitely.
cool.